Wow, when you start getting into real estate and investing, there are so many different terms and language and different things out there that you have to learn. And not sure if you heard this one before or not, but have you ever heard of the phrase called pay yourself first? Wow, what does that even mean? And how do you pay yourself first? And why is it so important? Well, today I want to talk about all of that and more. Stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Empire Your Life, and today I'm very excited to get into the topic of paying yourself first. We're going to talk about exactly what this means, how do you do it, and why is it important to you as a real estate investor or just as an entrepreneur in itself. But before we jump into that topic, I do want to give you a reminder. In the description down below, there's a link that you can click to hop on over to empireyourlife.com and get a free copy of the 7 building blocks to success, which will help you find the balance in all the different areas of your life. And so if you haven't taken advantage of that yet, make sure you hit that link in the description below so you can hop over there and get your free copy today. And with that said, and in the spirit of finding balance in your life, let's go ahead and jump into our topic today of paying yourself first. And we can't go any further without starting with what is a definition of paying yourself first. What is it? Well, very, very simple. Paying yourself first goes down the road of making sure that you actually give yourself, invest in yourself before you pay other people. Because think about it, on a regular basis, we are real quick to basically go to our job or run our business or make our investments. And once we get our cash flow, our income, our checks for that week, whatever's coming in, what do we typically do first? Well, if you're like most people, usually what we do is we pay the mortgage, we pay the light bill, we pay the car insurance, we pay the car note, we maybe put money in the kids' college fund, we go buy groceries, we go buy all these different things, but what we're not doing is actually giving us money. We're not paying ourselves first to invest in ourselves, our businesses, and our future. And so that is what paying yourself first really means, is actually when you get your check, is carving off a certain percentage or dollar amount every single time that you give to yourself to invest in yourself, your business, and your future. And so now let's go ahead and talk about how you can do this. What are the things that you can invest in to actually invest in yourself? And a lot of these are going to seem very simple, but we just don't do them. And so the things that we need to invest in ourselves, to pay ourselves first, are simple things like our retirement fund. So make sure every time you get a check. Now, for some people, if you're working a regular job, your employer does this automatically in a lot of cases where they'll take out your retirement benefits to where you're getting just what's left over. And so in a way that is sort of helping you to pay yourself first. But the people here at Empire Your Life, most of us are entrepreneurs, whether it's real estate or some other type of business, and you're not having an employer that is taking out those retirement benefits for you. And so you are in charge and have to make sure that you do that for yourself. And so the first thing is when you get your check or you get a payment or cash flow from your rentals, whatever it might be, the first thing I want you to do is take a certain percentage of that amount every single time. Make it a habit every single time. And you're going to pay yourself into your retirement fund, or you could put it into a savings account. You could put it into the stock market. You could maybe put it into an account to build up for a down payment on a rental property. So you have all these different things that you can invest in. And even we talk about how important education is, and investing in education is investing in yourself, because the more educated you are, the more steps in life you're going to be able to take, and the further you're going to be able to get, because knowledge is power. And so keep that in mind. Putting money towards your education is paying yourself as well. And so those are some different options that you can look at, and there are a ton of other options as well. But the key thing is to make sure when that check comes in, don't go pay everybody else. Pay yourself first. And that is what is so important about this video, and what I want to get across to you here today is, and look, it's so important. Let's talk about right now why it is so important. And the reason it is so important is because if you do not pay yourself first, let's go down that road. If you do not pay yourself first, you pay everybody else out every time you get a check, I guarantee at the end of the day, all that's going to be left to invest is going to be zero. Because for some way or another, we somehow find a way to spend every single dollar or every single penny of every check or every cash flow that we get, whether it's on things that we actually need or things that we want. We always find a way to get it down to zero. And so if you wait to pay yourself last or to invest in yourself or your future, then you're left with nothing at the end to put toward those things. And so what does your future look like if you're not able to invest in yourself, to invest in that future, or invest in your business, or invest in, everything that you have going on in your life to get to the next level? And so pay yourself first. Make sure whatever it is, if it's $100 a week that you're making, if it's $1,000 a week, if it's $5,000 a week, whatever it is, set aside a certain portion to go toward yourself first, and then whatever's left over, go to pay your debts. And you'll start to realize that, you may think at first that you don't have enough to pay yourself and pay everybody else. You're saying, Cody, well, look, the numbers just don't work. If I pay myself 5 or 10%, whether it's $100, $200, $500, whatever it might be for that week or for that month, it's just not enough left over at the end of the day to pay all the other debts that I have in order to survive and eat and do things on a regular basis. Well, I want to let you in on a little secret. There actually is going to be money left because, just like I said before, some way we always find a way to get our checks down to zero, by spending every dollar or penny that we earn. Well, it also works the other way in your favor, to where if you pay yourself first, you will end up with enough, probably end up down to zero, but you'll end up with enough to pay all of your debts and things that you need to cover as well. And let's go ahead and play the devil advocate here, and let's say that you don't. Let's say on the first month you realize, hey, I paid myself first. I tried paying all my mortgage, my food, my light bills, my water bills, all these different things that I have to pay, and I ended up with a few bills that I didn't have enough money to pay at the end of the month. Well, now it's a great time for you to start looking at all of your finances, lay everything out, and see what exactly all your money is going for. And start to find places that you can make cuts in your budget. Maybe you're buying, too much food. Maybe you're buying expensive food that, more stuff that you don't need. Maybe you're eating fillets every single night, where you can cut that down to 2 nights a week. Maybe you're eating sushi. Maybe you're like me and we eat sushi, once or twice a week. We just absolutely love sushi. Well, cut it down to where maybe you do that once every other week or once a month. And those are small ways to start cutting your budget. Even look at your light bill. Are you in the habit of maybe leaving lights on at your house all day, or leaving your air conditioning set to 65 all day long in the middle of the summer, where it's just constantly blowing and blowing and blowing and racking up a high energy bill? Well, simply set it to 72, 73, especially during the day if you're not there, and get that energy bill lower for yourself. You'd be surprised how doing that with food, your light bill, and even look at other things. Maybe you have an extra car note that you're paying for, a car that you barely even drive, and you're paying for a car note and insurance and all for that vehicle. Is there a way to get rid of that vehicle and use just what you have? Think about the savings there. So you could start looking at all these different things and see what you're spending money on. Maybe it's entertainment. Maybe you're spending a lot on watching movies, or, going out every night, or, whether it's going out drinking, or it's going out hanging out with friends, or it's going out doing this, that, or another. You can start looking at all these things and finding places to cut your budget down. And you'll find within a month or two of doing this that you'll have enough to actually pay yourself first and cover all of your expenses on a monthly basis, or a weekly basis, or daily basis, however you're paying all of your bills and expenses. And so it's just a beautiful thing. Paying yourself first is so, so important. And it just paves the way for the future for yourself, because when you look up a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, you're going to have money set aside for yourself, whether it's in that savings, a retirement fund, maybe it's in your education fund, maybe it's in your fund to go ahead and put down on a rental property. Wouldn't that be great, say a year from now, you actually were able to put aside, say $10,000, and now all of a sudden you're able to go buy your first rental property or your 100th rental property if that's where you're at. But you were able to save that money to have that down payment, to where if you did not pay yourself first, you would not have that $10,000 to be able to go and do that. And just think about what putting that $10,000 down on that rental property then does for your investment portfolio, but also for your life. Because now your business and your personal life is able to explode that much more because you invested that $10,000 that you paid yourself first with into a rental property that now is going to produce cash flow and build more equity for yourself. And you're going to see how that little bit of savings of paying yourself first eventually exponentially starts to build on top of itself and build true wealth for yourself and in your life. And so if you're not doing this already, I strongly encourage you to carve out a certain amount each month and start paying yourself. And look, you could start off with as simple as $50 a month, $100 a month, $500 a month, whatever you can afford in your lifestyle. And even if you got to do it as a percentage, maybe say 5% of whatever your gross earnings are every single month, or 10%. Again, whatever it is that you are willing and able and feel comfortable with to start carving off. And make sure you don't touch that. Put it in an account. Put it somewhere where you're not going to see it and you're not going to be tempted to use it on things like food or cars or just entertainment, because we want that money to invest into yourself and into your future. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you go and start paying yourself first today. It is going to make such a difference in your life. And overall, it's just going to help you to continue to build your empire. Thank you so much for joining me here today. And before you leave, I need you to do 3 things for me. Number 1, hit that subscribe button down below. Number 2, leave me some comments. Let me know what you thought about this video so I can continue bringing you more and more content just like this one. And number 3, most important, make sure you share this video with family and friends, somebody that might need to see it. Continue to get out there and build your empire.